Go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Something Suddenly Came Up with Des, apparently. And as always, this is a retro review, and we're talking about all things 60s, 70s, and 80s pop culture. I'm Leann, and here's my big sis, the Groovy Granny, and tell everybody what we're going to chat about today.
Well, today we're going to talk about our three favorite soap operas. Ones that I think one may still exist, but the other two are gone. And we're also going to kind of celebrate our mom. Our
Yeah.
mom passed away in 2020 of Alzheimer's. And she really loved one of the soaps that we're going to do. And Leann and I both also watched it along with her for many, many years. And so we wanted to really do a deep dive of that. But we also have our individual favorites. So we're just going to kind of do a deep dive on all three, right? Do I have
Yeah,
that right?
I think that sounds perfect. That's why we're not doing our usual top five. We were like,
Right.
we could do a deep dive on just our mom's favorite because we know so much about it. And we grew up with her watching it. And we grew up feeling like these characters were like part of the family because she really was so invested in the soap.
It really was.
Yeah, that from our school days on, we knew all the goings on.
Yes.
So should we start with your personal favorite and then mine, and then we'll go into the to mom's favorite?
Let's do that. And we'll
Okay.
probably a little more heavily go into her soap just
Yes,
because that's the one that we're really celebrating today because we're
that's right.
celebrating her because it's her birthday. She would have been 85,
I
right?
know. Yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
hard to
Yeah,
believe.
I know. I know. She is smiling at this one though. This isn't what her favorite thing. It really
I
is.
know. I'm sure she would enjoy us doing this in
For
general.
sure.
So
For sure.
this
Oh
one's
my
for
gosh.
you, Mom. Hope
That's
you're up
great.
there watching us.
She is. She is.
So my favorite soap is All My Children. I've watched All My Children almost from the beginning. I believe it started in 1970, and I probably came in somewhere around 1972. And it's one of my favorites because it pretty much stayed with realistic stories. Like some of the other soaps, even Moms, kind of went off the rails a little bit
Not
sometimes
till
with,
the end, I felt like, but
yeah, with
well, no, that's not true. When we never mind. There's a couple, but yeah, I feel like you're right. All my children kind of stayed in reality for the most part.
it was really more realistic storylines, a lot about the individual families. And the two families that started it kind of were the Martins and the Tylers. Um, that the Martins were Joe and Ruth Martin, and their kids were Tara, Jeff, and Jake. And then Tad was a child they adopted because
Oh, okay, that's
they
right.
had found Tad like left alone in the park.
Oh
And then
gosh,
his
is that how
parents
the story goes? Wow.
yeah, he was like when he was like 6, they found him in the
Oh my
park
gosh.
and they
Well,
kind of took him in. And then his parents, his real parents, end up coming back. His mother stays around a long time, very unusual character. Opal
mhm,
Gardner was her name.
mhm.
She ended up marrying one of the richest men in Pine Valley, which is where this particular soap took place, Pine Valley, Pennsylvania.
I didn't know it was Pennsylvania, but I knew Pine
Yes,
Valley.
Pine Valley,
Okay.
Pennsylvania. And the Tylers were Phoebe and Charles
Okay.
Tyler.
We're taking
And
the deep dive.
yeah, and their kids were Link and Kitty or Kelly. So this
Link.
actress played both characters, Kitty and Kelly,
Oh, there's
at
been
one
Link
point.
and Kelly. I was like, what?
Actually, I might have that wrong. It's Chuck and Link that were their kids. And then
Okay.
Link, I think, married Kitty or Kelly or and Kelly. I'm not sure
Yeah.
which.
Okay.
It was an interesting storyline.
Wait,
But
did she play both because it was like two separate characters, or she had multiple personalities? This is
well,
All My
they
Children.
killed off whichever one he married first. She got killed off. And
Okay.
people were very upset. So they brought her back as someone else, but he
Uh-huh.
also fell in love with her because
Oh,
obviously
okay.
I don't
Okay.
know if they were like twins and that's how she came back.
Okay.
That was pretty early on in the show. So I don't remember that as well as some of the other things.
Got it. Got it.
But yeah, so then the Chandlers came along, which were Adam Chandler.
Adam,
Um,
I know. Yes.
yes. And he had several children that came along a little bit at a time. The miraculous miracle children that,
Mm.
from a fling that he
Yeah.
had
Yeah. He had
somewhere
not
along
known
the
about or
way.
forgotten about or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Kelly Ripa, who
Yeah.
is quite famous these days, was one of those daughters that
Right. And her
came out of
husband was on the
nowhere.
show. Her husband, Mark Consuelos, was on the show too. I know
Yes,
that.
he was. That's how they met, I guess. And they
I
were
think
love
so.
interests on the show
hmm
as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she actually got pregnant with her first child on there,
Yeah.
but she was not pregnant on the show. So the tricks they did to try to hide her stomach, because
Oh
she
my
was in
gosh.
a very involved storyline at that time. So it was, I don't know how they did it, but it was
Oh my
pretty
gosh.
obvious to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think, most of the fans probably knew
Already
that
knew.
she was in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. She's always carrying like a box or
Yeah.
she's
But of
behind the
course,
counter in the kitchen.
but of course, the character that was the show was Erica Kane, played by
Oh, of
Susan
course.
Lucci.
Of
And I
course.
will always remember when she finally won a daytime Emmy. She
Oh
had been
yeah.
nominated 19 times without a win.
Everybody, whether you're an All My Children fan or not, I think
Yes.
everybody was rooting for, or everybody was wondering, will it be this year?
Yes. And you could tell almost that she kind of dreaded it. It didn't, she was
Yeah.
there with her husband who recently passed away.
Yeah.
And the guy from Young and the Restless, I can't think of the character he played. He was doing the announcing and he's like, the streak is broken, Susan Lucci. And I mean,
Everybody
every
was crazy.
single person in there, no matter what
Oh my
show they were
gosh.
on, or if they were also nominated or whatever, they were just, I mean, people were crying. Her
Oh
whole
my gosh.
cast was
Oh
crying
my gosh.
practically. Oprah Winfrey was in the background because she was out about to do a presentation after that. And she comes out, she's like, Susan.
Yeah, I
It
can
was like
believe
a
it.
miraculous time, like
Oh
it
my
was,
gosh.
you
I do
just felt
remember
for
that.
her.
She was on a few of those like daytime, sorry, not daytime, but the nighttime mini series too, Susan Lucci. I feel like she was
Yeah.
in a few of
Well,
those.
in the very jump the shark time of Dallas, she also came on to Dallas for a little
Was
while.
she?
Yes.
Who did she play on? I did not know that. Who did she play
I
on
think
Dallas?
I didn't watch it then.
Oh,
Barbara
okay.
Eden also came on. I
That
think
I do remember.
they
Yeah.
were trying a lot of things to hang
Oh,
on, but
okay. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, Susan Lucci. I just remember Susan Lucci, of course, like you said, Haley and Mateo, which is Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. But I remember back, because you know me, I was always a fan of Soap Opera Digest. And I
yes,
remember Greg and Jenny on the cover. And
yes.
what are their names? Oh my gosh, now I'm blanking. She's so cute. Angie? And what's Angie's
Angie
side?
and Jesse,
Yes,
yes.
Angie and Jesse.
That
She's so
foursome
adorable.
were very popular at the
Yes.
time. They were
Yes.
best friends and,
I can
they
picture
were
her with the dimples and everything. She's so
yes.
cute. Yeah. Oh
Yes,
my
and
gosh.
Angie and Jesse, when they tried to reboot the show for a little
Mhm.
bit when it was on some streaming service, Angie and Jesse came back, and it was really cool to see them because not everybody came back. Of course, Susan Lucci
Yeah.
did, but,
Yeah.
it was great to have them back, and they built quite a big storyline around them. As a matter of fact, the girl who played their daughter in the reboot was actually one of the contestants on America's Next Top Model.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think her name was Celicia. She
Okay. All
she came
right.
back as their grown daughter, which
I
was so funny to see that.
my knowledge of all my children is very limited to watching it with you
I know.
a few times, but I liked that storyline. It was kind of like a mysterious, it almost felt like a gothic novel storyline with Dimitri and he's mysterious and
The
Edmund, his brother, right? Aren't they
yes.
brothers? And
They
Erica.
also had, and I can't remember, honestly. It's hard with the memory sometimes, but I can't. The character was Angelique, and she was. I can't remember if she was involved with one of them romantically or if she was a sister.
I don't remember either, but it had a little, it smacked of somewhere between Jane Eyre and Dark Shadows.
Very
Like they
much Jane Eyre.
stole,
Yeah.
yes, they
Yeah.
stole that. Was Angelique Dimitri's wife or ex-wife or,
Or I was thinking she might have been Edmund's,
oh, maybe,
but I
maybe.
cannot remember. But she was played by Susan Hubley.
Oh,
I don't know
yes.
if she was a big like
In the
movie of the week
70s, right?
girl.
Yeah. She's married to Kurt Russell, wasn't
She
she? In
was.
real life, yeah.
They were in that made for TV miniseries about Elvis, where Kurt Russell played
Oh,
Elvis and
yeah,
she
yeah,
played Priscilla. I
yeah.
think that's where they
Oh,
met, which
but
was interesting.
I really liked that storyline. There was a bit
I
of
did
gothic
too.
romance to it.
Yes,
Dimitri is
Dimitri
very
was so
mysterious.
mysterious.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to remember somehow Natalie. Remember
I
Natalie
can
and
remember Natalie
Trevor?
and Trevor. Yeah, he's a goofball and
Natalie's
she's
sister
not.
Janet came back and she
Yes.
was very jealous and she was a bit evil. And she put Natalie in Dimitri's well or something. Do you remember that
I
at
don't,
all?
but I can believe that. That makes perfect sense, honestly.
And I think Dimitri found her or something. I can't
Yeah.
remember the exact
Excuse me, in
storyline,
real
but
time, I'm going to shut my office door here because the dog is about to bark.
uh-oh.
Yeah, I feel like that was a great storyline. Yeah, I like this Trevor Natalie storyline too. I
I
know
did
there's a couple
too.
of those. And then the woman plays Janet and Natalie both, right? It's this like
At
the
the
same actress?
beginning, at
Yes.
the beginning, yes.
Yes. Okay. And then they
But
get
then they
separated.
bring when only Janet comes back,
Hmm.
they make Janet good.
Oh,
You know how that happens. And she was played by a very well-known other soap actress, and I can't think of what her name is at the moment, but she did a fabulous job with it. She actually made you, she
like
changed your
Janet.
mind about
Oh,
her,
okay.
and I
Okay.
think she ended up marrying Trevor.
I think you're right because Janet was a real like nut in the at the first part, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, she was. And then, of course, one of the other super couples was Nina and Cliff.
Oh yes, that was
Yeah.
early on, right? That was
And
pretty early on.
Nina was Palmer Cortland's daughter,
Right.
and they had a bit of a weird, mysterious storyline too, where
Hmm.
the lady who cared for the house ended up being Nina's grandmother, but she didn't know it.
Okay. A little bit of
Very,
Mrs.
very
Renfield from Rebecca or Miss Danvers from
Yeah,
Rebecca.
it's a very unusual storyline, but yeah, so Palmer's first wife, who was Nina's mother, uh, Nina didn't know that this woman who'd been caring for them was Palmer's first wife's mother. Very
Okay.
strange story.
So, favorite storyline that stands out for you across the board?
That's a tough one. That is really a tough one. I definitely liked the Dimitri time a
Yeah, me
lot.
too. That's
There
when I
was a
remember
lot of
watching
good
with you a bit.
storylines going on then, and, I really liked Edmund and Maria together.
Yeah, they were together in real life as well, weren't they? That actor and actress.
Yes, they
Yeah.
got married, and
Hmm.
I think they got divorced, and he died shortly thereafter.
Oh,
Um, but Maria's sister, ugh, I had it, and it just went right out of my head. The actress name is Penny something. Sydney Penny is the
oh,
actress's
I can
name.
picture her. She was on quite a few things in the 80s. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
really adorable, and
Really cute girl. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Sydney Penny.
Anyway, she had a storyline with where in one of the like Pine Valley tragedies, there was a
Oh,
tornado during a big party at Adam Chandler's house,
oh gosh.
and the chandelier falls and cuts her in the
Oh,
face.
mhm.
And so, she's hiding her face. She's
Oh,
got to have a lot of plastic surgery. And she meets this guy, Noah, who was just such a heartthrob. And they had a nice storyline too.
oh,
What was her name?
oh,
I hate
Michelle.
when that happens. I really do. But there's so many storylines that I love. Tad and Dixie,
Oh,
another
yes, I remember them, of course.
I
Yeah,
really
Tad and
loved that
Dixie. Yeah,
storyline as
that was
well.
yeah.
They played it out for a long time. Tad died and came back, and you know how all those things happen.
So then, who's your super couple?
I think it would have to be Tad and Dixie.
Yeah, they were soap opera digest covered for
They
sure.
were.
For sure. Katie
Yes.
McLean, right? With the D. Katie with
Yes.
the D.
And Michael E. Knight.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. They were quite good. Yeah. I do
Yeah.
remember that storyline. Like I said, watching it with you. Yeah. Well, look, All My Children, definitely a classic. I know what's the head writer? Agnes Nixon who invented
Yeah.
All My Children. And I know Carol Burnett is a huge fan of All My Children.
Yes.
And like you said, we talked about a couple times, she guest starred on there playing a fun
Yes,
little
she
part.
did. She did. Verla Grubbs was the name of the character.
That's our Carol.
Yeah, it went on. I think it started in 1970 and went through like 2009, maybe something like
Wow.
that, 2011. So it
Yeah.
was on a long time, but
Interesting.
I never really understood why they canceled the ABC soaps. They were still doing relatively well,
I don't
but
either because General Hospital's still around, I
it's
think,
still
right?
on. But they
Yeah.
canceled All My Children and One Life to Live.
Yeah. It seems like they changed the format in which they were filming these soaps. That was like the first thing you noticed seeing. I mean, I
Yeah.
noticed it certainly with, some of the other ones that it seemed like they were using a less flashy film way of, I mean, it almost looked like handheld cameras were being used to
I thought
film.
that too at one point. Like it
Mhm.
would almost make me a little dizzy to watch it
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, yeah. It almost felt like Uncle Phil filming our family parties.
With
God
that
rest
big
him.
Beta camera,
Yeah,
remember that
yeah,
thing?
Betamax camera. That's right. That's right. And that light that you're like blink.
Yes.
Oh my
At my
gosh.
at my wedding reception, he had this
Yeah,
big light on, and I'm
I
like,
do
"You have to
remember
turn
that.
that off. Nobody wants to dance with
Yeah.
this one."
Yeah, this spotlight on. Oh gosh. Well, what I like best about I think the soaps, and we've said this to each other before, is there was certainly such quality acting because they had to memorize scripts and film all year round except the weekends. I mean, I
Yes,
don't know how far ahead they filmed, but what that takes a lot of talent. And also just seeing them every single day, you felt like you really invested.
very
Now
invested.
people like, they binge watch things, but let's be honest, a season of something nowadays is 12 episodes, 8 episodes.
Yeah, when you think
Not that.
about, like, let's take Dallas, I always go back to Dallas.
Mhm.
They were filming 28 to 30 episodes per season.
Right,
Now, what do you get? Like you said, 8 or 10, right?
right,
And
right.
then there's usually a really long time in between, so you've forgotten what had gone on.
The only time that Dallas took a hiatus is in the summer. You
Mhm.
saw some reruns
Yes,
or any of those shows, really. And daytime soaps don't have that luxury. They were on all year.
they were totally on all year. You
So
celebrated Christmas with them
you
and
did.
Thanksgiving with
And
them,
that's
and
what I love about it. And I think that's why so many people were so invested. It's like
yeah,
you really did feel like you got to know these people. And
yeah,
so I think
definitely.
people definitely have a love for these characters and the actors. But yeah, I love that. I love that.
Talk about yours.
Well, mine, everybody knows I'm a big soap opera digest lady, and my little silly story, this great toy box dad made for me. The Barbies left, and it got filled with soap opera digests at some point in my middle school years, my junior high years. But I saw on the cover of Soap Opera Digest Bo and Hope, and I was like, what is this about? And I saw this like, the storyline, the guy's the rebel and she's like the kind of snobby rich girl. And I started watching Days of Our Lives after that. And I really don't. It's one of the soaps I believe is still on.
I think it is too.
Think it very much fit, and no offense to Days of Our Lives or any of the amazing actors, but I think it very much fit my teenage imagination. Unlike All My Children, where it all stayed a lot of it in the real.
Yeah,
Days of Our Lives had their moment where, we had Stefano DiMera menacing the whole town and people dying and coming back. And he had an evil doctor called Dr. Wolf who could like, wipe somebody's brain and whatever over here. So there was a bit of that. Um, but a
Although that
lot,
may be reality nowadays.
that might be reality nowadays. Maybe it was.
I think a few people have had their brains wiped.
Probably so. But I think at the heart of the time I watched was, which was in the 80s, we had Roman and Marlena, and that was, the cop guarding the lady and they fall in love. We had Bo and Hope, we had Pete and Melissa, Shane and Kimberly. Just all the Days of Our Lives did such a good job of making these couples so important. And so the
Yeah.
music swelled and they each had their own love song, and they just did such a good job of making it feel either like a music video, which was so popular at the time, or like you're seeing a movie. It was just they did a really good job of doing the super
Played
couple.
Marlena. Was that Deirdre Hall?
It is, and she's still at it, bless her. And she looks great, and she's still playing the same character.
Speaking of someone who had a hit song, wasn't that her? Didn't she have a hit song
You
or a
know who you're
duet with
thinking of?
someone?
Her name is, she played Liz on the show, Gloria Loring, and she was married to Alan Thicke. And
Okay.
Gloria Loring sang a song called Friends and Lovers. And that was a song that I think it was Shane and Kimberly's song, but she sang quite a few songs on the show.
Okay. I knew
And she's a
someone.
real singer. She has a
Yeah.
beautiful voice. And then she had love stories of her own going on. She was with Neil. It was Liz and Neil. And
Ah.
yeah,
But
it
the
was just
same soap, right?
same soap,
Okay.
yes, yes. And she would sing at a local hotspot. She would sing. Liz.
Okay. So she
Yeah,
sang on the show as
she
well.
sang on the show. Yeah,
Okay.
beautiful voice. And she and Alan Thicke, I believe, either sang and wrote the songs or sang on certain songs like correct me out there, people, like the Facts of Life theme, different
Oh, yeah.
songs. When you hear the voice, I'm pretty sure that's Gloria Loring. Definitely
Okay.
did the themes for certain TV shows. But again, to my middle school brain and into high school, I was so invested in, these sweeping big love stories, and
Yeah.
they just did
Well,
such a
that
good
is what
job.
draws you in general, are
Yeah.
the love stories for sure,
Yeah.
and the couples you're pulling for, and then there'll be
Yes.
that person that's trying to come between them that you get
Oh
a hate
God.
on for, you know?
Bo and Hope had Larry Welch. He's so evil trying to get Hope. And then they had Megan Hathaway trying to step in and get Bo. That was part of
Oh,
the stuff when I was young. And then Melissa and Hope were cousins, and they had a lot of interactions when I was young. And I could relate to that because, as you know, we're close with our cousins. So
yes.
I just really, it was just so good. And then there was Kayla and Patch. That was something too. He was the real bad guy. He came on as
Wait,
a
I
bad
think
guy.
I remember that. Did he actually
Mhm.
wear a
He
patch?
actually wore a patch. Poor
Who played
Stephen,
him?
Stephen Nichols. He's also was on General Hospital. And
Okay.
bless his heart, he had to wear this patch for years.
That
I
probably
mean,
can hurt your eye,
I can't
actually.
even imagine him wearing this patch. And then they did a small part where they had him get an eye transplant. And when he
Oh.
didn't wear the patch, everybody put up a stink, and he had to get something wrong with his eye to put the patch back on.
Oh,
But
man.
it was, yeah, it was tough. And then we just had that flippin' Stefano DiMera who was had it in for Roman Brady from the start and all the Bradys. So he kept trying to swipe Marlena. A bunch of things happened to Marlena. He stole Roman, and then this guy came back we thought was Roman. It turned out to be John Black, who is a guy that we don't have any idea who he is. His brain was wiped by the doctor, and then he fell in love with Marlena. So when the real Roman did come back, he was a little S out of luck.
Ah.
Yeah, so there was a lot of friction there. And then Hope, there's another super bad guy called Ernesto Toscano. And and we thought Hope died because he put her in this cage and then the cage blew up. That was on an island. Never mind, you guys, just keep up. And so I remember being very upset. And then they put Bo together a little too quickly with this
Oh.
doctor called Carly Manning, played by Crystal Chappelle. You
Oh, I
wouldn't know if you
remember
saw.
her. She was
Yes.
on All My Children for a
And
while.
I think because she has blue eyes and dark hair, they wanted us to forget about Hope, and I was not having it. And then he ended up with Billy Reed, who's played by, I think she's adorable and sassy, Lisa Rinna, and then Hope did come back.
Ah, so then
And
what happened? Who did
that put,
he
well,
went
that
back with Hope, I assume.
he did eventually, but when Hope came back, her memory had been wiped, and she thought she was Princess Gina.
from
That's
the
the
evil
whole,
Stefano, was it?
yes, the evil Stefano became involved. So anyway,
I
long,
say the evil Stefano because a funny thing about your show is when have you ever seen Legally Blonde?
yes.
The movie Legally Blonde?
Yeah, yeah,
When
yeah.
she's making her video to get into Yale or Harvard,
Yeah.
she's like, "So, what's going on your Days of Our Lives soap?" And she's like, "Well, the evil Stefano."
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. There's this cute thing you see on Instagram and stuff, and it has a picture of Joe Mascolo who played Stefano, and he's like this. And it says, "This is the guy that gave hell to all of our mothers, grandmas, and aunts throughout the 80s or whatever." But anyway, it was so fun at the time. And just like the 80s, it was over the top. The
Yeah.
hair was big, the makeup was big, the music swelled, the villains were bigger, the intensity of the love stories were bigger. And it was just really fun for the time. I don't think I could watch it today with the same gusto at
Well,
55,
I think
but
because as you age, unfortunately, like realism kind of takes over. So some
yeah,
of those goofy storylines
yeah,
that you
yeah.
were into at the time
Yeah.
might be like, what? Like I don't know. Plenty
Right.
of adults watched it too, though.
Well, like I said, they did a great job of just making you feel like you were intensely in the middle of this love story. You were
Yeah,
leaning in like, oh my gosh. I
yeah,
mean, and like I said, they had the music right, the hair right, the costuming right, everything about it.
yeah,
Um, and McDonald Carey and Frances Reed, who played the Hortons, the matriarchs of the whole thing, really, in a lot of ways, although, of course, there were Brady's and other families, Damaras, all these things.
yeah,
They did such a good job of making even the wildest storyline legitimized by Grandma Horton being like,
yeah,
helping Bo lead Hope through the tunnels, or Grandpa helping somebody do something at the hospital. It just
yeah.
lent because they're such accomplished actors. He was a movie actor for
He
sure.
was.
But just a lot of really great acting and a lot of characters, beloved characters for sure. And just that 80s over the top intensity.
What year did that start? Do you know?
I really don't know. I should have looked that up, but that is a
Well,
great
no
question.
biggie.
I'm not sure, but I do know it's still going. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I think it is
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I really haven't followed in years. But and it had that cute Billy Warlock from Happy Days
Yeah,
as
yeah.
Frankie. Yeah,
And
Frankie and
Baywatch.
Jasper. Yeah, yeah, and Baywatch, that's right. Well, they had their share of like, and of course, Bo and Hope. I think to this day, people that don't even watch Days of Our Lives, I think if you say Bo and Hope, they're like,
I
oh,
know who they are.
yeah,
Yep, for sure.
exactly. Exactly. Such an enduring super couple for sure.
Well, I can
But
remember all my children and Days of Our Lives were both on at 1 o'clock for 1 hour. And
it's
when
tough.
our family used to all go to the beach together,
Oh, yeah.
and there was always a little battle because I was the only All My Children watcher, and you and our two cousins were Days of Our Lives. I'm trying to remember if I ever won the battle. I think everybody was fair and let me
I
watch
think
All My
so.
Children.
Yeah. And I think Aunt Mary might have been a Days of Our Lives lady too. So I think
Yeah, I was definitely outnumbered.
our lives. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We did love our Days of Our Lives at the time. We had to know who got away from Stefano that
Of
day or
course.
whatever.
I'm trying to remember. I'm sure we had VCRs at that time.
We did for sure. We did
Yeah.
for sure. But I don't mind saying this. On the day of Bo and Hope's wedding, I was home with a cough. And mom was fine with it.
She knew. She could
Yeah, yeah,
relate to that
yeah.
one,
A
right?
little bit of temperature, the vapors, something.
Oh gosh.
But it wasn't as easy in those early days of the soaps. We weren't able to tape them. So you did have to have the vapors.
You did. You absolutely did. That was like the
Oh,
major
heavens.
benefit of staying home sick for sure was
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
caught up on your soaps, as we
That's
used to
right.
call it, right?
That's right. Caught up on the stories. Well, listen, before we say our number one, I just want to give a tiny honorable mention
Yes.
to our grandma's favorite soap because it is burnt in our brains just that she had such a love for the Hoff. And that was just a small nod to Young and the Restless. Not one I
Yes.
watched, but man, Snapper Brooks, played by David Hasselhoff, our grandma laid eyes on this guy, and she was a fan through Knight Rider, everything.
She
She
did
loved the
indeed.
Hoff.
Yes.
So shout out to David Hasselhoff and Young and the Restless. That's still going strong, I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
That
it
that
is. I
show is
believe it
going.
is.
That show is going.
Yeah.
But I mean, without further ado, the show that we grew up on that our mom watched, and since she was a kid, a little kid, I'm pretty sure, um, and we were privy to every afternoon walking in from school because she was either crying with tears of joy because there's a wedding, tears of sadness because this will be a spoiler, but Papa Bauer died, or just mad. So that is Guiding Light, right?
Yes.
Oh my
Guiding
gosh.
Light was her favorite. I want to show you guys something.
Yes,
So
please, girl.
I found this book
Oh, yes.
and I thought I bought it at an antique shop.
Okay.
But what it actually says inside, to Mom from Leann on Mom's 57th birthday, April 12th, 1998, she has watched this soap since the beginning on TV, and she wrote that herself. It's in
Oh,
her little writing.
oh, you guys.
She wanted to remember, or us to remember.
Oh,
She wrote it in there, I swear.
you
You want to
guys,
see her
because
little handwriting?
you
Can you
guys,
see
because
that?
that's her handwriting for sure. You guys, because these don't post in real time and we're not live. I mean, we're live as we're taping. This is our mom's birthday. So I think you said
Yes.
that at the beginning, but that is very cute.
And
I did not remember that.
I don't know if you included these or if she stuffed them inside.
I think she stuffed those inside, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Goodbye,
School
guiding
bumper
light,
week. Oh, yeah.
canceled.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I did the tiniest bit of research because I remember mom always saying it was on radio first. So Guiding
Yes.
Light was on radio starting in 1937.
Wow.
It switched over to TV in 1952. And mom's right, she would have been a kid, like in her teens.
Yeah.
So in 1952, she would have been 11. So that girl would have been leaning in. She was like us at 11. She would have been like, hmm.
Yeah.
And it even said in my research that it ran both ways for just a small overlapping
Oh,
time. So on
really?
the
It stayed
radio.
on radio and on
Yeah.
TV? Hmm.
Yep. And the lady that created Guiding Light, her name is Erna Phillips. She was like the first one to introduce like the dramatic bum 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 organ sounds in between and the dramatic cliffhanger.
Oh,
So she is
yes.
kind of like one of the pioneers in soap world. And then Guiding Light went off on September 18th, 2009. And man, it was a sad day.
Yes.
It was a sad day.
It was. I
Yeah.
felt so bad for Mom, especially because I think I had stopped watching it
Yeah,
by
I
then.
hadn't watched it for a bit
But
either. Yeah.
but,
Too
she was
little.
definitely verklempt, as they say.
Was. And Guiding Light was the Bowers, the Chamberlains, the Spaldings, the Lewises, the Reardons, but the main family is the Bowers. And mom always talked about Papa Bauer and Bert Bauer. Bert is a lady, by the way. I think she
Yes.
was, what is it short for what, Roberta or Berta or
I
something?
I'm not sure
But
about
Bert
that.
Bauer, she was the matriarch of the family. And from that came Ed Bauer, doctor, of course, and Mike Bauer, who was a lawyer, and everything kind of shot off from that family, I feel like,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, Bert and Mike and Ed, and then Rick.
Rick
Rick
Bauer,
Rick
yes, Michael
Bauer
O'Leary.
was he who did he belong to? Was he like a late baby, so to speak, of them, or was he
He,
the
he
child of Mike or Ed?
he's a child of Ed. And when he
Okay.
first came on the show as a child, it's not Michael O'Leary back then, they were calling him Frederick. So his Rick is from
Oh,
Frederick.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And by the time we remember in the 80s, it was that hot storyline with Philip Spalding, Rick Bauer, Mindy Lewis, and Beth Raines. And they
Yes.
called themselves the Four Musketeers, but it was the hot teen storyline of the
And
summer.
they were all so gorgeous. Like,
Yeah. If you didn't have a crush on Grant Alexander as Philip Spalding,
yeah,
I don't
he
know
was he
what
was he was
to
the hunk of burning love for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And then Michael O'Leary, also cute. He's the comedian.
Yes.
He's funny and yeah.
I actually liked his character personality a little
Better.
bit
Yeah.
better.
Philip can be a bit of
He was
a
dramatic.
dramatic, a little bit of a crybaby. He's a Spalding, so he's super rich.
Yes.
And Rick was just raised by the regular old Bauer clan.
So there's an interesting story that I had forgotten about Philip's parentage.
Yes, go girl.
So I can't remember everybody's name, so forgive me, but Alan Spalding was his father. But the lady that was Alan's wife was not Philip's mother. I think her name was Elizabeth or something like that.
Right.
Then the lady that was like his caretaker or whatever, that Alan later she married Alan, but nobody knew except her that she was his mother.
Okay, I might be remembering this wrong. Was there a point in time where they thought his father was Ross's brother, Justin Marlar?
Yeah, no, Justin Marlar adopted him, I think.
That's it. There's
Justin
some
Marlar and
crossover.
his wife, actually, Justin may have been married to his real mother. I
I think
can't
that's what it
remember.
is then. There's something there, but he is Alan's son, right? Or did Alan adopt him? Or you
I
out
think
there,
he
you
is
know, tell
Alan's
us.
real son because you
Okay.
know Alan, he wouldn't have given an adopted child his money.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But oh my gosh, I loved anything with Alan. Alan is one of those guys that I wouldn't call him a villain per se. He's a little bit like J.R. Ewing. And now we're back to Dallas.
Yes.
J.R. can be pretty ruthless. And so, but there's moments where you see a little humanity there. And
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say with Alan as
Where
well.
you understand how they got the way they
Yeah.
did, so to speak.
But Alan is a stinker. I mean, that, yeah. And then his sister Alexandra.
Yes.
That was always interesting when they brought Alexandra on. And then I really liked the Reardon family. They owned the
Yes.
local boarding house and bar,
B.
right? B.
B
Reardon.
B was the mother, and then
Uh-huh.
Maureen. Did
Maureen is
Maureen
the
eventually
oldest
get with
sister.
Ed?
Yes, Maureen ended up being with Ed. She's the oldest sister. And then there's Nola, and
Right.
Nola had a huge story arc in the 80s.
Yes, she did.
She is a stinker, Nola. They did this cute thing with her though. She's very fanciful and the boarding house and the bar or whatever is boring to her. So she's dreaming about they would do these like she would watch an old movie and then put herself there in the movie. So they would do these scenes where she's picturing herself in the movie.
Yes.
And she had that crush on Kelly Nelson.
Yes.
And she made him think she got him drunk and made him think that he got her pregnant, but it's really hapless
I
Floyd's thing.
remember Floyd.
Yeah.
I remember Floyd very well.
But Nola's biggest storyline, back to Jane Eyre, was
Yeah.
with Quint. Quint
Yes.
didn't record when he came on at
Yes.
first. And it was a total Rebecca storyline, down to the creepy housekeeper, Mrs. Renfield, I think. And
Yes.
Nola went to be his assistant. She ended
Yes.
up being
I
App.
remember it so well.
Do you
I
remember
remember.
whose son he ended up being?
Yes, Alexandra. Was it Alexandra? Or
No, he ended up being Vanessa's brother, half brother,
right.
who
I was
Henry
going to say,
Chamberlain fed.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but that was a funny storyline. So Nola did marry into a rich family,
Yes, she did.
and there was a lot of ups and downs with her and Quint, but a lot of adventures too, because Quint happened to be an archaeologist.
Ah, yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And
Well,
then
then later on, I don't remember who the little girl belonged to. I feel like her last name was Spalding, so she must. Who did Lizzie Spalding belong to?
that's Philip and Beth's child, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, and she was when she was little was played by Hayden Panettiere, right?
Right. Yes.
Who
And she
was
had to play.
amazing at it.
Yeah, because didn't she play? She had some terrible illness and she was in the hospital a lot in the scenes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, she was really good. She was very good.
she was excellent in that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Did you know that Kevin Bacon was on that show?
I do. He played Tim, and I think he was friends with Kelly Nelson.
I think he was in that group. Was he in the group with Nola and Kelly?
Yes. And then Katie, Floyd's big sister.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then he did he kill someone in a drunk driving accident?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a very intense story arc. He was had alcoholism and he
Yeah.
was had a problem. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
what they I think I read in the book that he was like a character that went to AA.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think Ed Bauer did as well. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
there's,
I think you're
yeah,
right. I
yeah,
think
that
you're
was
right.
very much a part of the storyline. And I think, that's an interesting thing with soaps that, in with the fanciful stuff, there's a lot of, real stuff too. And I think
Exactly.
Guiding Light was pretty in that realistic realm, I would say. There wasn't
For the
any
most part, there were
until
a few crazy a few crazy ones. Probably one of the most crazy ones.
Yeah. Well, you can't really gloss over Guiding Light without you got to talk about the Lewis clan. And
Yes,
so there's Billy, Mindy's dad, because Mindy's my favorite, hands down. Shout
I
out to
like that
Krista
too.
Tesreau. She is the most adorable human. She
He
played
is
Mindy Lewis
adorable.
so well. Just like she could be a stinker, she could be she could cry, she could everything. I think she's such a great actress. But anyway, I digress. And then real Lewis storyline was always centered around Josh and Reva.
Yes.
Reva was married to every single Lewis man, including HB, the old.
Yes, yes. You're right. She was married to HB as well. Did she start out with Billy and HB came later?
She started out with Billy back in the
That's what I
day,
thought.
and then I think she was in love with Josh when she was a young girl. Something happened to split them up, and she married Billy, which
Okay.
was a bone of contention, obviously.
Yeah.
But they brought Reva on later. Like the Lewises came on to the show to Springfield, and Billy started up a romance with Vanessa Chamberlain, which is hysterical. Billy is
Right.
like this Southern draw. He's like a total like Texan. I think they're from Oklahoma, actually. And then Vanessa is the snobbiest. So
Yes, she is the upper crust
mhm,
person. But
she is.
he kind of brought her down
Oh,
to
they're
realism
adorable
a little bit.
together.
Yeah.
They're adorable together, and they have little Bill. And
Yeah, Little
yeah.
Bill. And I have
Mhm.
never seen a better casting of a child because that child looked like Billy
It was
so
it
much.
could be, yeah. Yeah.
I
Those
was like, wow, that's good casting.
Yeah, that's a good storyline though. Billy and Vanessa getting together. Cool. Just the 80s were great on Guiding Light. I loved the 80s on Guiding Light.
That was the primary time I watched, I think.
Yeah, I
I
think
guess
me
I started
too.
watching, when I was in high school. So I guess
Right.
that would have been the
I
end of the
remember some
60s.
of the Kelly Nelson stuff with Morgan, but I was real little when mom was watching that. And the quintessential Guiding Light moment, I remember, everybody knows this if they know me, but I walked in from elementary school and mom was literally on the edge of her chair this close to the set because the Bauer brothers had evil Roger Thorpe backed up to the edge of the
Mhm.
cliff. And we think Roger went off the cliff, but little do we know, he comes back later. But
Yeah,
mom
that
was
was
on the
that
edge.
was a much more earlier on
It
storyline
was.
with Holly and
Yes.
Roger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
But that
it
stood
was
out.
intense, an intense storyline.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
guy who played Roger was such a good actor.
Michael Zaslow, amazing
Yeah.
actor. Yep. And Maureen
And then
Garrett's Holly.
so horrifyingly, he got ALS and
And such a great
suffered a
actor.
terrible death.
I feel like he would crop up in some other shows, like a few nighttime shows here and there.
There
You know
was
what I
one
mean?
he was actually brave enough to be in when all he could do was blow into
Oh,
that
bless your heart.
that thing to move him around, and I think, like, somehow he could talk through it. I'm not exactly sure how that worked, but that was real. That wasn't,
Mhm.
like, him
Mhm.
playing that. He
Right,
he he
right.
was really experiencing that at that
Oh,
time.
yeah, he was
It was
so
very
good.
brave to do, what a
Yeah.
brave guy.
Roger now on one hand was despicable. They made him despicable.
Yes,
But
he did some despicable things for
yes,
sure.
he really did. There were a few moments in the 80s where you got a glimmer here or there, but he was pretty despicable. He was not like Alan, whereas Alan's
Right.
just,
There
yeah.
was But then later, didn't they start to make Roger a little bit better?
I think they tried to,
They
but
tried
they
to, but
couldn't
it
leave him
was
there. He just couldn't.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of Justin Marlar, I always really liked the character of Ross.
Oh, Ross is Jerry Verdorn. Yeah.
Yes, I loved his character. I thought he was so good. what was the girl? She had curly hair that he Ross
Blake?
and
Blake.
huh?
Blake?
Blake.
Yeah,
Yes,
she is
Blake.
actually the daughter of Roger and Holly.
Oh,
Yeah,
Roger is her father?
Roger's her father. Yes.
I did not
Now,
know that.
back in the day when they introduced her character as a little child, she was called Christina. And so, but her name apparently is Christina
Oh,
Blake Thorpe, I guess. And then she comes later to mix things up as an adult, and she goes by Blake.
but didn't she think Ed Bauer was her father? Did Roger even know for a long time?
I'm not sure on that one. I think you're right. I
Okay.
think there was a point in time where they were saying Ed was
Yeah,
her.
because now that you're saying Christina, I remember that now. Yeah.
But yeah, they really kind of spiced Ross up by making him and Blake have an affair
Yes.
because there's a point in time where he very boringly was dating Holly, her mom. And
Yes.
then Blake came on the scene and spiced Ross Marler right up.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Um, I like when Blake was played by, she's called Sherry Stringfield. She was
Yeah.
in
She went
ER.
on to ER, yeah.
Right. But then the
I liked her as
majority,
well.
I thought she was good as Blake. The
She was
majority of
really
the
good.
time she was played by a lady called Liz Kiefer, and she ended up growing on me, but
Yeah, she
I'm
grew on me
sorry.
too.
I'm a Sherry Stringfield girl.
When Sherry Springfield left, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
no."
yeah, yeah.
And
But
it did take me a while to warm up to the
yeah,
new girl, but
yeah,
she did. She took on the
yeah, she
character
did.
and did a good job with
She did,
it.
for sure, for sure.
And then later, I really liked the character of, I think her name was Harley.
Oh yeah, Harley. Now the Coopers took over Bee's place, took over the Reardon's place for the
Okay,
most
yeah.
part, right? Because I feel like they ran, am I wrong on that? I feel like they ran the bar and maybe
I
the
feel like
boarding house.
Buzz, who's the father, right?
Yeah,
Buzz
yeah,
is their father.
yeah,
Yeah, he was running some sort of little restaurant or something,
yeah,
wasn't
for
he?
sure, for
Okay.
sure. He sure was. And then then there's Frank
Frank.
and Harley. Harley's this little sister, yeah.
Yeah. And
She's
was there
one. She's one that came on real odd. Like when they first introduce her, she's very kind of odd and almost
rough?
felt like, yeah, rough around the edges. And then
Mhm.
she ends up being one of the major characters
Major
towards the middle
character.
and end. Yeah.
Yeah. She became like the police chief or something, didn't
Something.
she, at one
She
point?
became a
She was
cop for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. And she
But
was
Frank
married to
was
Philip at
also
one point.
yeah,
Oh.
that's right. That's
Mhm.
right. Yeah. And then there was like a beautiful girl who also went on to be on one of the like hospital shows, but she played the character of Elaney.
Yes.
Frank and Elaney, I think,
Yeah.
were the couple. She had dark
Yes.
hair.
Okay, forgive me. I'm going to say her last name wrong, but it's like Melina Kanakarides.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Was she on CSI
Something,
or something like
something. Very
that?
striking.
Beautiful
Yeah.
girl,
Very striking.
really
That
pretty.
was a good storyline. Frank and
What would you
Olivia.
say was mom's favorite
Oh gosh.
storyline or
Oh,
couple or
I know she liked some of that story arc with Fletcher Reed. He's
I
a
liked Fletcher
newspaper
too.
reporter.
Yeah.
And Claire Ramsey, who's one of the doctors, but she has an affair with Ed, and they end up having
Yes.
a child together called Michelle, who
Yes.
then Ed's wife raises Michelle because Claire is unfit. She's not a good woman.
Do you
She goes
remember
off,
that?
and they raise Michelle. But that Claire Fletcher storyline was fun. It was like
I
a
liked the
spicy little
character of
storyline.
Fletcher
Yeah.
a lot.
I feel like they never quite got Fletcher matched correctly.
I agree. They didn't give him a good enough storyline,
Yeah.
I never thought.
I know mom liked the Riva stories. I know she liked there was a part in the Riva story arc. We'll get to the silly part, but there was a part, definitely the part where she was married to HB and there was all this and Josh was in the wheelchair and
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of tension there. She
Yeah.
leaned into that, I know. And then there was parts where they brought on Reva's siblings, Rusty and Roxy, and Hawk Shane, her dad.
Oh, I
And that
remember
mom liked all
Roxy
that storyline.
Shane. Yeah. Who did
Mhm.
she get with?
Um, he came on later, but he was one of the I don't know if he's a Cooper. No, he's a Bauer. His name's Johnny Bauer. Um,
Hmm.
Roxy was with him for a little while.
I'm trying to remember who he's connected to.
I don't remember if he's a Bauer cousin or he was only on
Okay.
for a little bit of time.
Okay.
He was also, they brought on Chelsea Reardon for a while and she went on to One Life to Live. She's Cassie DePaiva.
Oh, yes.
She was
Yes.
with Johnny as well.
Okay.
But yeah, so I know she liked that. Anything with Roger or anything with Alan. Um,
Yeah, she'd get so mad at
she
Alan
would
though.
get
I can
mad at
remember that
Alan.
very
Yeah,
clearly.
yeah.
And I think you mentioned this, but she always looked forward to that Bauer barbecue every
I
year
know every
because
year.
something crazy
The
went on.
Bauer barbecue. She got to tune in for the Bauer barbecue. And then in the early years at Christmas, Mike Bauer would sing Silent Night.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he's a real stage actor, like a
Mike's another one I never felt like they gave enough of a storyline
Rick.
to.
Poor Rick, they passed him around to everybody. They had him with Mindy for a while, and bless his heart, on the very last episode, they had them get together, which I think is sweet. It's a nice way to
Yeah.
wrap it up.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
but they never really let Rick have I think a dimension more than I'm the good guy and the funny guy,
I
you
think
know?
that's the problem. When you get labeled the good guy, your
Yeah.
storyline has
Not terrible.
nowhere to go with you,
Mhm.
like
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's that. But it was cute. The last episode they treated like they wrapped the storylines and then they did a little flash forward. So on the wrapped storyline, Philip and Beth were like, Rick, we have somebody to introduce you to. You remember her? And Krista Tesoro pops out, like, hi.
oh,
And so Mindy's back, and then they fast forward it, and Rick and Mindy get married.
oh, how
So
cute.
yeah, it's a cute rap. And I remember Michael O'Leary's so cute. He says a line something like, "To you, you mean I get the girl?" And everybody's like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
because yeah, that
yeah."
I
Mhm.
remember that now because we were
Mhm.
like, yeah, poor guy, he never
And
will get the
I
girl.
know. Or he went temporarily and something
Yeah,
happened,
and
but
somebody would do him terribly wrong all the
they
time.
had him with Fletcher Reed's sister. She came on and mom couldn't stand her.
What was her name?
I can't think of her name. She's a redhead and they make her like a little bit I don't not punk, but she's a little more of like a how would you put it? Like she wears a lot of rings. She's like a little tougher of a girl. Not tough like a tough chick,
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. And she just I don't know. I don't think she was a good fit for Rick, but it was probably like one of the more like kind of passionate storylines they had for Rick.
at
I
least they
can't think of,
tried.
yeah, they tried. I can't think of a name of the sister. I can picture her in my brain. She's actually Robert Goulet's daughter that played her.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
And what about that Annabelle Sims
Oh,
story?
that is what I would come home from school like. Annabelle
Gonna take
Sims.
a drink of water on this
Yeah.
one.
Annabelle Sims is a mysterious lady. And she, with the adorable Tony Reardon, remember from the boarding house now, he's one of the
Yes.
siblings, played by Greg Beecroft. So cute.
Dark hair, right?
Yes, he
Yeah.
gets with Annabelle Sims, and she has these flashbacks and these strange memories. And then enter Susan Piper. She's an unusual realtor, played by Carrie Nye, who's married to Dick Cavett in real life. But she plays
Dick
her like
Cavett.
the hair over the eye, and she plays her very mysterious. She's like, it's Susan Piper. And she sells them, I want to say, because I'm remembering from being a kid, a haunted cottage. There's a whole
Oh,
storyline where Annabelle has some flashbacks to something happening. I can't remember the entire thing, but her, I feel like it has a little bit of that vibe like the movie Ghost Story, because I feel
yes.
like Henry Chamberlain is involved, HB is
Oh,
involved,
yes.
right?
Yes, it did follow that.
Brandon
Her
Spalding.
picture, her paint, she's in a painting.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
it
But it
was
goes back
that
to
ghost
all
story.
those guys when they were young, and she's getting some kind of psychic vision. But Susan Piper was the mysterious realtor.
Okay.
If you know, you know. Come on, people at home, you know.
Okay. A good storyline because I remember I loved that movie Ghost Story and it did very much remind me of
So
that
what we're
story.
referring to, guys, in the early 80s, they brought back Fred Astaire. Oh gosh. Oh, Douglas Fairbanks Jr. Who are the others? Oh gosh. Oh
Was
gosh,
it Ray Milland
Ray Milland
and
and
somebody else?
Melvin Douglas.
Okay,
And they're
okay.
these four old gentlemen, and something from their past that they do when they're young comes back to haunt them.
Yeah.
Played expertly by these four gentlemen, and by then they are probably 70s, 80s,
Yes.
and they do such a smashing job.
And then they're played by younger people too, because
Mhm.
they flash back
Right, right.
to the
I'm not
time.
sure that it's the best movie I've ever seen written wise, but those four guys really pull out the stops. But
They
anyway,
do.
that's the vibe in this Annabelle storyline. Annabelle Sims, not Annabelle the doll. There is a doll in this, but not related to that. There is that like I said, Brandon Spalding, all the very old
The old
patriarchs did
that's what made it
something,
so good.
and
Yeah,
she's like psychically remembering, not she wouldn't have been there.
right.
But yeah,
But then don't they find, doesn't she see herself in the painting or something like
something,
that?
something. Yes. Yeah.
Now, see, I want to re-see that now
I
because it
know.
interested me.
Yep. And Tony Reardon is just there in a supporting role. I mean, he's there at a major role, but you know what I mean? He's part of
Yeah,
just her discovering all this stuff. And then he's got an older brother called Jim Reardon. And I don't remember where Jim comes in the 80s. Someone will tell me.
I
But
don't
Jim
remember
Reardon
either.
was another storyline that I feel like mom might have been leaning into.
Yeah.
And he may or might not have been involved with Fletcher's sister as well. He
Oh,
definitely had a romantic storyline, Jim Reardon, with someone, but he's B's oldest.
okay. I can't recall him for some reason. What
In
did
the
he look
80s.
like?
Very handsome guy, beard and mustache, light eyes, brown hair. If you saw him, he looks a little bit like the guy from the Doobie Brothers, Michael.
Oh, Michael McDonald.
Yes, a little bit
Okay,
like
that's
Michael
good
McDonald.
looking.
Yeah, right. That's
I'll
a
have to
pretty
look
good
him up.
analogy. As
Yeah.
someone at home went, Leann, that's a good analogy. Yeah. But the 80s had so many great storylines. And then there was Michelle getting involved. This might have gone into the 90s now with a crime family mafia guy, Danny Santos. His mom,
Oh,
his mom he's kind of the guy with the heart of gold trying to hold it together, but his family is involved in the mafia. And so
okay.
Michelle Bauer falls in love with him, and man, that was a good storyline.
I knew they let Michelle get older and
Mhm.
have more
She's played by
mature.
that Joey Lins from One Tree
I
Hill.
thought she was really cute too. She was a
Mhm.
good little
Boy, did
actress.
they do a good job together. Danny and Michelle was such a cool storyline. I know there was a lot there. And then the lady from man, we are just going deep. We're diving real deep. The lady from Miami Vice, she has black hair and she worked with Crockett and Tubbs. She was one of the police officers. She played the matriarch of that crime family.
Oh,
Sandra Santiago.
okay. I'll take your word for that.
Okay, you can. Our neighbor is like pointing to this cute cat in our yard right now. It's not our cat, but I'm like, hi.
I hope Des doesn't see
Once
it.
in a real time, you guys. You can't, yeah, can't make this up. Anyway, just such a great show and so many fun storylines. But Di, you can explain where they jumped the shark.
Well, it had to do with a storyline with Riva. I don't totally remember how it began, but this happened at a time when they were experimenting with cloning and they did the Dolly the sheep or whoever it was,
Yeah.
and they cloned Riva.
Well, you guys, we don't know how or why. I remember a scene, poor Kim Zimmer, who's a lovely woman. I've seen interviews with her.
And a
She's
very
so
good
funny
actress,
and
really.
down to earth, a great actress. And people, if you know GL, I mean, most people think Reva Shane first. This generation may even think Reva Shane first.
Yeah,
Um, but she would come and go sometimes, and you'd see her. She was on Designing Women. She was on some other things as
yeah,
a guest star. I know she acts in the theater too. She's an accomplished actress. But the way they would get rid of Reva here and there, her car went off a cliff. Like they literally showed a car going off a bridge and the bridge ends and it crashes. Josh, we're all sad. Everybody's, oh my God, Reva's dead. Mom probably was like, um, and I think that's why they cloned her, but I don't know how they got the DNA because then she reappeared.
yes. And wasn't her clone evil? or something,
Yes,
or her clone was like doing things very unReva like.
right. Her clone was evil. Yes. And the more confusing part is I'm pretty sure that the girl that played the clone then played grown up Michelle. I may have this backwards. So if anybody at home, I think it was that Joey Lenz. I think she
Oh.
later goes by Bethany Joy Lenz, or I don't
Oh,
know. It's
yes.
like,
I know
yeah,
exactly who you mean.
yeah. I believe she's clone Reva, and then they do a little switcheroony on us, and then plays grown up Michelle.
Oh,
Someone
okay.
watching knows if I'm wrong on that, but somebody plays a part and then they swap her out for a new part. But yeah, clone Reva.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a storyline that I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, push
no,
this a little
no,
far. And then
yeah,
there's another storyline that at the time it was fun. Okay, so Cassie comes to town. She's a stripper with a heart of gold. She later goes on to be on General Hospital. She's a very good actress. I believe she was on Loving. I don't know if anyone remembers that soap to start with. Anyway, she's Laura Wright. I think when she was on Loving, she was Laura Sisk. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Soap Opera Digest. But anyway, she I think she's Hawk Shane's illegitimate daughter, and then she and Reva find out they're sisters.
okay. I can't remember this. I remember
Anyway,
Cassie a little bit, but
long story long, somehow Reva at some point when she lost her memory had been married to Prince Richard, who's the prince of some nowhere kingdom.
I think I do remember it.
And then he's got a bad brother named Edmund, and somehow they find Reva. I mean, Reva gets around. And then the part that was fun was that Cassie falls in love with Prince Richard and they have a big lavish wedding,
I
right?
do remember that, something about
Wait,
that, yeah.
I don't know if he's no, but then he comes back. The guy that plays the prince comes back and plays a different character.
Oh,
It's
for
very
crying out
confusing. But anyway,
loud. The land of soaps.
at the time
This
there was
is
a
what
lot
happened.
of yeah pomp and circumstance and it was a cool wedding and but Reva and Kim Zimmer says this funny thing where she Terrell Anthony I believe is his name, he's coming on in the 80s to play her brother Rusty Shane, and she says to him, well, be prepared to fall in love with Reva, and he says, no, 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 I'm here to play your brother on the show. She goes, I know, but everybody has to fall in love with Reva apparently, but that's pretty much it.
It's part of your contract probably,
It
right?
must be. But a storyline that mom did like, and I know we can't do this for 5 hours, but I'm going to bring this home, is Kyle Sampson, played by Larkin Malloy from All My Children. Reva falls for him, and he ends up, there's somehow have to hide out in an Amish village. And so they pretend to be an Amish couple. And
I
I know
do.
they sleep with that board in between them because they're not married. And so the Amish lady makes them sleep with the board. Anyway, that stands out in my child brain. And so mom really enjoyed that Amish storyline with Reva and Kyle Sampson, who ends up being Billy Lewis's half brother because somehow HB slept with this lady and she ends up being Billy's mom. She's also Kyle Sampson's mom. But you guys, this is exhausting. So,
In the world of soaps, there are many affairs, many marriages, many surprise children that come
yep.
back from,
And
years ago.
nobody's dead. Nobody.
Nobody's dead, lots of resurrections.
Yes. Yes.
But that is the fun of
And
soaps.
that's
And
the
I miss
fun.
that.
I do too. I miss that too. And like we always say about there's something about that delayed gratification of having to wait, that cliffhanger, that the organ swells and tomorrow.
Yes.
Or Friday, God forbid, a wedding. She just comes down the aisle, we see her face, and Monday morning we'll see her again, whatever. But there's
And the woman that her husband to be has had an affair with is in the back of the
yes, she's there in the back row.
you're like, "Oh no."
Yeah, but that was part of this, what made it special. You like tuned in and then you had to wait out the commercials and then you
Yeah.
had to, and you're rooting for your favorites. And it was fun. And
The idea of
really, I
soaps
get
I'm sorry, go
no,
ahead.
no, go.
I was just gonna say the idea of the soaps was for the women who stayed home back then.
Yeah, yeah.
something on during the day because typically back in the 50s and 60s and even the 70s, there wasn't a lot else on during the day.
No, there
We
really
had some
wasn't.
game shows, some reruns, things like that, but there wasn't a gazillion channels to choose from. There
Nope.
wasn't even, shopping channels or anything like there are now.
Nope.
There was none
Nope.
of that.
And
And
they were literally called soap operas because they were trying to sell products to the ladies watching. They were selling
yes,
laundry soap, basically.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
I
I
think
think
it's
even way, way back, I think some of the characters would do some of the peddling of
yes.
the
In
products.
between, yeah, I
Mhm.
think so. I know Guiding Light forever, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say brand names. But anyway, they were sponsored by the same very famous soap company or
Yeah.
company that sells detergents and soaps for the whole duration of the show.
Was it P&G?
Yeah, huh? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I will say one more tidbit because I think this was interesting when I did do a little bit of research on this. The Guiding Light, it was originally called The Guiding Light. And when it
Mhm.
was a radio show, it was about a local pastor and him kind of solving people's problems. And he would light a lamp in his study or whatever, and people knew they could come in and talk to him.
Interesting.
I was like,
Wow.
that's cool, isn't it? Because we're used to the lighthouse imagery of Guiding
Yes.
Light ever
Yes.
after, but that was the original premise, which I think is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
wondering what everybody else watched when they were growing up, because I know a lot of you watched them,
You
men,
die
women.
hard and die hard, ride or
Yes,
die for your soap. And also, right about now, there's some of you out there being like, her name's Bert because. So tell us
right.
why. I mean, like
Exactly. I
Philip's mom is so and so.
I can remember in my working days, you would hope so much that somebody in your office watched the same show as
Oh,
you, so
yeah.
you could come in and talk about
Yeah.
it
You
the
could
next
chat it
day.
out. Oh, that's so true. That's so true. There's so many aspects to the soaps too that you miss, and that is also the soap opera digest and soap opera journals. I
Yes,
don't know if they're still around to some extent. I don't really know,
I have
but
no
I
idea.
but I think it's so cool. And you see people once in a while on like Facebook or something like, "Hey, I have this still." That's like an old soap opera digest. But those are so fun, so
I
fun.
know.
And what great actors! Props to all of those actors.
Yeah,
They
because
were.
if you had a big storyline at the time, I'm sure you had pages and pages of dialogue per day
Yes.
to study.
Yes. Yes. That is true. I don't know how they did it.
And
I mean, I
because it was
know,
per day, you were probably getting it in a more delayed way. You
right,
weren't like getting a week's worth of dialogue at a time. Some of it may have been, but
right,
I'm sure
right.
there were a million changes that happened pretty quickly.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, shout out to all those amazing stars. And again, that's our mom's absolute favorite. So this was the perfect day for this tribute to Guiding Light and all those fabulous stars and those great storylines. And this one's for our mom.
I know. And I respect those moms that we all grew up with that stayed home and watched the soaps, and we
Yeah,
got us all involved in it, and
I
I
know.
really do miss those days.
I
Sometimes
do
they
too,
were realistic, but it was also an escape from your
for
everyday
sure.
life.
For sure. And I think nowadays we all drive for the most part and we can get on the internet and say, where's the local pickleball group or whatever. But in
Mhm.
those days, moms were a little more stuck at home kind of, right? They either didn't drive or they were just, they didn't have as much range reach, I would say. Maybe they were worked up at the school or maybe they had a volunteer job. I'm talking about the stay-at-home moms, of course. So I think this was a nice bit of company too, probably.
I think absolutely. And a lot of women, when they were doing their housework or whatever,
Mhm.
would have it on in the background.
Yeah.
And when that happened, you can't help but get hooked on it.
Yeah, you're gonna lean
It
in.
just happened.
Oh, I love it. Oh, this is a great walk down memory
I
lane. And as
know.
always, you guys, tell us your favorite soap, or tell us better yet, your favorite guiding light memory.
Yes. If you
Remember
guys
watching
watch
the guiding
Guiding
light?
Light,
Yeah,
please
let
let
us
us
know.
know.
Let us know. And as always, subscribe, like, tell a friend, comment, even if you're just like, this was fun, or or if you have a suggestion for something for us to cover.
Yeah.
But this was really fun and so appropriate on our mom's birthday. So here's the
Yes.
guiding light and all the
Mom, I hope you were
stars.
proud of us.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, love you, sis. Next
Love
time,
you.
let's see what we talk about next, you guys.
Okay,
Take care.
goodbye, everybody. We'll
All
see you
right.
soon.
Bye.